Hey, how are you? I'm Dan Ferris.
I'm Michael Williamson.
From Complete Media Incorporated, the finest marketing agency on the prairie.
Recently confirmed by the good folks of DeSmet, South Dakota, home of the finest little house on the prairie.
That's true. Visit there. If you're getting touristy this summer, make sure you hit DeSmet on your way to the Black Hills and Mount Rushmore, where there's beetles carved right into a mountain.
Do you know the Beatles is a pun?
I did not know. What, seriously?
Seriously.
No.
Think about it. The group The Beatles.
Yeah?
It's a pun. You're in radio, you've never realized this?
I've never heard this.
Oh, well, we must stray, because this is an epiphany moment.
Okay.
What do you think The Beatles has always been named after?
I really never even thought about it.
Well, I'm asking you to now.
I just figured it was the insect and they misspelled it.
Did you ever think that maybe they intentionally did it as a pun, as in the beat?
Whoa. Mind blown.
My work here is done. Thank you.
Holy cow.
No, I'm just kidding.
We talked about how to define your target market last time. We want to dig a little deeper. We want to drill down a little more into that with a little something we call psychographic segmentation.
Oh, that's way too big.
We can say it and we know what it means. No one on staff can spell it. But here's what we're talking about. It's one thing when you're trying to set that demographic profile that you're going to serve best and make the most profit from by just going, okay, gender, age, location.
Right.
Let's really break this down into things like lifestyle and how people behave and everything else, because that's really important.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you watched and tuned into our last podcast, we kind of left it out there and said it's important to, but we didn't want to just leave it hanging there without some specific direction.
Correct.
And specific examples. And it is more than just lifestyle and home and demographics and what you do and where you live and how many kids you got. There's some great examples out there of companies that you are very familiar with, but you probably didn't realize that they have raised the bar when it comes to defining their target audience.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's just take, for instance, men's clothing. There's a lot out there. You would think, well, a guy's a guy, and at some point he's going to buy a suit. He's going to score some khakis, which is a whole different episode.
Oh, tune in for that. Anyway,
but it's hugely competitive.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But different clothiers and different, department stores, whatever, place themselves and market themselves differently for specific reasons. Talk about Men's Warehouse.
Men's Warehouse, a clothier. Honey, I'm going to the clothier this afternoon.
Yeah, I am.
Anyway, yeah, it's a perfect example, Men's Warehouse. And I missed that guy, by the way, but that's another story.
Yep.
What's their target audience? Right now, I'm sure people out there are thinking, well, it's just any guy that needs a suit.
Nope.
Oh, they'd be wrong.
Completely wrong.
Completely wrong.
Young professionals, young professional males, probably their first job where they have to dress for work, and they aren't writing out $10,000 and $15,000 checks to upgrade their wardrobe for the season. So when you see everything the Men's Warehouse puts out there in their commercials, their print pieces, whatever, everything from the models to the styles to everything else, it's all 20-somethings, it's all a little hipper, and it's all very cost-effective. You can go suit up, you can get yourself a couple sport coat, shirt, tie, whatever, for a couple $100.
Typically, yeah.
And that's exactly what they did. They wanted to own that segment, and that's how they did their homework, and that's how they boiled it down, and that's exactly who they talk to.
Right. Another great example that we like to share with our clients is the difference between Walmart, Target, and Macy's. Okay, so there's a lot of overlap between those three entities. Granted, Macy's is more of a clothier, but they have expanded their product line to include a lot of domestic products, a lot of sundries.
Wow, this is actually happening.
They even have gotten into, kitchenware and electronics, and depending on which Macy's you go to in which part of the country. Same thing with Target, same thing with Walmart. What's the difference? Well, they all are focusing their efforts on a particular target audience, because they're not all trying to reach the same target audience, are they?
Nope.
Absolutely not. So just think about it. And it's no characterization on who goes there, because frankly, I shop at all three.
I've been all three, certainly.
Absolutely. I don't favor one over the other. But that's just indicative of they've got their target audience, and they know that beyond their target audience, they're going to appeal to a broad base. But their target audience, Walmart, what is it? You can't have all three. What's this? Remember what this is?
The food pyramid.
This is the. I don't know. I don't know how to do that. Anyway, but you can't have service, you can't have quality, and you can't have
price.
There you go.
Can't hang your hat on all three. It just doesn't work.
So Walmart hangs their hat on two of those, which is price, and on the other one,
boy, I think that might be it with Walmart.
is the greeters in the blue vests with the smiley face.
And who doesn't appreciate that experience?
Hey, if they're not there, I don't walk into the store until somebody comes and greets me. I'm just saying. Walmart, if you don't have a greeter on staff, I'm not coming in the store. But their whole thing is based on the people whose primary concern is price.
That's it.
So consequently, they're not going to give you the greatest customer service in the world. They're not going to give you this one-of-a-kind poshy experience. Target, on the other hand, somewhere in the middle between that Walmart and Macy's. They're going to have more customer service people on hand. Price, they're going to have some good deals, but they're going to have
they're going to be a titch more expensive than Walmart.
A little bit higher quality of product. And then finally, Macy's. Again, price is not a concern for the people who are going to frequent Macy's. They're looking for a more personal experience, and they're looking for a higher quality product. So each of those represents an entirely different target audience. Not that most of us don't go to all three of them at any given time.
Once you take all these factors into play and who you're talking to really, and what are the behaviors and what are the lifestyles, et cetera, and who you really do best with, it's important to evaluate your decision too and the impact that's going to have. Are there truly enough people in your particular market to fit your criteria, or do you need to switch that up?
Yeah, because if you sit down and recognize your ideal target demographic is 47-year-old widows seeking wall-to-wall purple shag carpet, that's a pretty narrow target audience. You might want to broaden that.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to really take a look at who you are too as the business owner. And I've run into this, I guess for lack of a better term, conflict before, where we're dealing with clients and say we've done some mock-up of a rebrand or their message or whatever, and something we know is going to speak directly to their demographic, but they go, you know what? I kind of like this better because they like it better personally. But say they're a 55-year-old male and their target demo is the 28-year-old female. Well, now we've got a problem.
Well, it's a matter of perspective. I know plenty of 55-year-old males who might not have a problem with a 28-year-old female.
Here's the dirty little secret. In a lot of cases, your business is not about you.
Oh, but
if that makes sense. If you can wrap your head around that, or at least how you pitch your business out there isn't necessarily things that you're going to like or respond to, does that make sense?
Well, it's no different than if you're a chef. If you only serve the foods that you like, you won't last long in business.
Perfect analogy. Thank you for that. And really understand what drives your target to make those decisions, and can they actually afford your product and services? There's a lot of things to consider. Can you reach them with your message? Are they easily accessible? Again, there are so many ways to get your message out there anymore, depending on who your target demographic is.
And if they're in prison, then it's a big challenge.
It is, because, darn it, most penitentiaries don't have cable or satellite.
But they do have radios.
They do, so that certainly might be a fit. But
you can speak to that, can't you?
I can.
Perhaps we shouldn't.
Again, consider who you are, product, service, pricing, that demographic. Is it a good fit? It sounds complicated, but a lot of times it's really just kind of a gut check and really becoming more observant about the people you're dealing with now, the core base of your clientele now, what they like about you, what benefit they see in dealing with you, and how to attract more of that.
And don't be afraid to adapt and change. And the way that you best do that is to constantly seek that input from those that work with you, from those that you service. Don't be afraid to adapt and change. We often encounter people who have been doing the same thing for so long. Not only have they become numb to their target audience, but they've become numb to adapting and evolving their message, their methods, and even how they position themselves with regards to their products and services. You know, if you run a car wash and you've been doing it for 40 years, it's fair to say that you've had to evolve over time because your customer base has, vehicles have, technology has, and so why would you continue to just offer a car wash that you complete using a bucket and a sponge?
Well, look at it this way. When's the last time you were at a Blockbuster?
Exactly. Perfect. I return the compliment. A perfect analogy, a perfect example. And I loved Blockbuster.
I did too.
And I miss Blockbuster, quite frankly. Friday night, anyway, but you know what it was? It was as simple as, because this is the difference. Blockbuster was an opportunity to go there with your family, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever, and pick together. Mm-hmm. That's gone. Now it's going through the guide on your TV and go, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And you have no visualization. You have no, atmosphere. And they didn't adapt, but they took away something that was their niche.
There it is again.
Niche. But it was an experience not unlike going to a movie theater. When you wanted to go rent a video, it wasn't just walk in and pick the first thing. You spent time. I can remember spending almost as much time finding the movies that we wanted as we did watching the movie. But they didn't adapt.
No, they didn't. And the key here is with the firepower they had and how successful that company was. Blockbuster was a massive, very successful company. And with the advent of all of a sudden there's streaming, all of a sudden there's this, they could have owned that. Yeah, they could have absolutely owned that, but they just stayed their hand, man. They just stayed their hand going, no, we're going to stay here. They'll always be used for us. No. So again, like Michael said, you have to be open to change. You've got to know what's coming up, what's just maybe a quick trend and a flash in the pan, or what's really going to be a solid long-term strategic marketing plan for what you're dealing with, and how socioeconomically your market's going to change as the years go on. Here's a big surprise. Baby boomer generation, about 84 million of us. Gen X, about 48 million. That's an enormous difference in consumerism and who's consuming what and why and where. And we're here to help
you navigate those turbulent waters with a fresh set of eyes.
And to find,
even though we need readers.
Your niche. Hey, that's a wrap. I'm Dan Ferris.
I'm Michael Williamson.
Thanks for tuning in. We're at Complete Media Inc., the finest marketing agency on the prairie.
Bye, Laura.